Hey guys, so today I'm working on a 1970s era Salisbury mailbox door. And I'm really working on it because I need to get to this lock mechanism and work with it, fix it, whatever I got to do to it. But I'm going to teach you guys how to service them, what you need to do, and some of the problems you'll face. So, you know it's a Salisbury on the star with the letters and the big opening at the bottom of the mailbox made of glass. Good job, Salsbury. So you'll find these on mailbox shops that offer P.O. boxes cheaper than the post office. And sometimes you'll actually find the more updated version. This is the version I want to say probably up to like the 1979, 80 era. And then after that in the 80s, they got rid of this here and they copied this style and just added the brass down here, which I don't know why they didn't in the 70s. Maybe we know. Maybe we know why, but uh they covered it up and then eventually they got rid of the keyway and moved this entire star over here somewhere and it had like a little dial equally as dumb, but it's Salisbury. So eventually Salisbury wised up and caught up to everyone else with their mailbox doors and got better. But I'm going to show you guys the problems you'll face with these and how to service them and the remedies and such. And in case you're all wondering, this is the key blank in XL7 in case you want to stock up on them. So your biggest call and complaint on these from customers will be my key is stuck. So with this star, people look at the star like they would look at a clock, and they want to think that the A is the 12 o'clock position. So you'll put your key in to get your mail, you'll turn it to the J, open your mailbox, close it, and then the key kind of just, like as you see, it just snaps back, but you can't pull that key out. You have to turn the key to really the second leg of that A, and then you can remove the key. As you can see, the keyway is not straight up and down, which is what it is. So usually you just have to, explain that to the customer. So not always easy, but sometimes they're problematic. Sometimes the key is sticking and maybe it will turn to the A if you're lucky and you have one that's not abused and worn out. But usually what happens is you'll see the plug start to kind of come in and out. And the problem there, you would think just tighten the cam. Well, you can't. They pinned this thing to the back of the lock. And then comes to this contraption from Salisbury. So we're going to break this down for you here. You have your lock connected, pinned to this cam, which is connected to this pin, which connects to this long pin, which has a spring located in this mount, which is also the pin is held on by this tab. And the entire thing is held on by this bracket, held in by two screws, which go into these two posts. So there's a lot going on. You also have your glass, which is held on with this little strip here. You could actually put the numbers here. This place put it on the glass. These are held in by two tabs, which hold this on, which are held in by these two screws, which go into these two posts. Sheesh, right? Like, people look at this, a handyman looks at this and says, ha, call a locksmith. What is that? Really not as bad. It's just ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole thing apart, show you guys how to put it back together and some of the issues you'll run across. So first thing you're going to do is remove, let's just say you're just changing out the lock for somebody on one of these. You have the new lock and you just want to replace it. So what you'll do is you'll remove these two screws first and foremost, and you'll set the screws aside. You'll remove this bracket here. You'll remove the key if you're not me and you're smart. We'll pull this key out of here. We'll set that aside. We'll remove the lock. We'll remove this pin. We'll remove this pin, which you can just slide it out of here. And then inside of that mount is a gigantic spring. So just in case you find yourself taking this thing apart for the first time ever and you have no idea what you just did, and you just opened Pandora's box, and let's just say they want to change the number on it too. Let's just say for their own reasons, they asked if you could just throw a new number. You'll remove that screw and this mount. You'll remove this screw. And really from here, you could just pull this out. But let's just say that you went ahead and took everything out. We'll do that too. So we'll move that screw, that mount, and then we will remove the glass, just like so. So let's say that you've just torn this whole thing apart. You can't remember how to put it back together. You don't know, you're not confident taking it apart in the first place. Really easy. So we'll start with the glass part here. Glass just goes back in. Then you'll take this little strip here, and this is really where the number goes. A lot of companies like to put it on the glass because it's easier to peel, and you kind of leave this looking normal. And then you have these little shapes here. Those are going to go just above the screw hole on each side. Then you're going to take a mount and just put that over the screw hole, which is also just so much fun. Look at how many moving parts you get to work with. Thank you, Salsbury. And then what we'll do is we will just kind of not tighten it and just screw this in. And then we'll go to the other side. And now we have some leverage. Don't try to do both sides at the same time. Tighten one side, again, not super tight, but just like it's still not even set. But we want to be able to move this if we have to. And then we put this screw in. And then we tighten the screw down. Just like that. Don't go super crazy because it is made of glass. So, and this glass breaks pretty dang easy. So, just like that. Keeps everything in. We'll straighten out this bracket a little bit. Just like that. Simple. So now, let's say we want to put back, we're replacing the lock. Really, you don't have to even remove all this stuff. You could just remove the lock portion and put it back on if you wanted to balance it. But let's say you ripped it all apart. So first thing you do, take your spring and you just slide it into, just drop him in. Just super, super simple. Now, this is the part you really have to pay attention to. So you have one side that's flattened and one side that's not. So when you put this in, and you can test it as well, you'll put him in here. You'll see that he only wants to go one way. So you want the flat piece to be facing you. So that way when you close the door, it just stops and then the flat piece prevents people from opening the door. So just like that. That's how it should look when it's closed. You can put it in if you're not paying attention backwards, and then anybody could just pull this thing open with enough force. Make sure the flat piece is facing outward. The ramp is facing inward. So then we'll take our little tiny pin, and as you can see, there's a hole, and it's on both sides. So I wish they would have just done it into one, because this can actually fall deeper through that hole and poke out. I wish they didn't, because if it stood like this, you'd have more control of the mechanism. But he just drops in. It doesn't matter which way you put the pin. It's just all the same thing. You also have this little hole at the bottom of the cam, which this slides onto. When you turn that, you turn the lock, the cam moves. This pin drags this pin into the spring and retracts the lock. Now, if you are ordering a lock for this and you don't have, sometimes the stores have stocked up on replacement locks. If you get the new version, it's actually not peened. It has a cam that you can remove and put back on like normal, but it's still this style cam. The problem with it is there's way more play in that new version than this version. And also the hole that this goes into is way wider on the new version of this lock. This is problematic because when you turn the key to the J position, the new one goes a little past it and it will actually pull this too far in. And then this whole pin, sometimes on some of these, will be so worn down that it falls out this end. Super, super annoying. Like this one can't go any further. It's a long pin, but sometimes this is, other handymen have either filed this part down, filed this end down. Be careful filing these down because when you do upgrade to the new lock, if you take too much, it'll actually fall on the inside. And you don't want that to happen. So the less filing you have to do, the better. But that is something to watch. So if you order a new lock, order the pins too. They're like $1.50 or something. Just order the pin. Just order it all. You know, the spring is like 50 cents. The pins are like $1.50 each. And then just charge the customer. I'm telling you right now, best thing you could do, order all of this. You can still keep the bracket though. And then this bracket slides. So let me see if I can show you guys a little easier here. You have these little kind of indents. Let me find my pointer here. So you have a little indent right here and right here. This is going to just slide down into them. So try to do this without dropping the lock out of here. Like that. If you do it too close, it's not going to fit right. And if you do it too far away, the lock will fall out. So make sure it goes into those little slots. And then we will just put our screws back in. Just like so. And you'll want to tighten one side down, not super tight, so you can still have play on the other side. And then we will just put our other screw in. So, and then we'll tighten them down. Just like that. And then we'll put our key in and test. And it opens. So to show you guys how that works, when you turn the key, see, if you were to file down any more of this pin, it's barely just hanging on there. So the problem with that new version, which I don't have with me, but the new version, this hole is bigger and it moves further back. So when it pulls this back, especially if this is filed, this pin will just fall and then all of this just falls apart and you watch it happen. And then you're just kind of like here. Sometimes this falls out, this stays, so then you have to go to the inside of the mailbox and just pull it to open it. But like let's say that you work at a store and you have no key, your customer lost his key, you don't have a master key that works. You just reach in from the inside and just pull like that, just like this. And the door obviously opens, super easy. But that is one thing I will say. Salsbury did not pay attention when they upgraded this to an old vintage lock. And really the biggest problem is the hole. See how there's just a little bit of play with this pin? Just imagine if that was just like, it's hard to explain, but it's significant. And then also this cam stops here. That's how far you're going to turn it on this old style, the original. On the new version, it wants to go even further. And because the hole is wider, again, it just falls out. In that situation, obviously, you're going to have to reorder this pin here. I would just order 2 new pins, honestly. And then put that all together at once. Because obviously, these are so old, handymen just file them down like crazy. And then just lubricate the heck out of it. And that's really all there is to it. So I just want to show you guys some of this. I know a lot of emails have come in about these old vintage mailbox doors and how to service them. So I hope this helps you guys. Hope you guys are still enjoying the channel, learning something, having fun. Feel free to subscribe and I will continue to help drop some knowledge in the lock world. So thank you all for supporting the channel. We have significantly more subscribers than I ever could have imagined, and I appreciate all of you. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video.